Good evening, everybody. Welcome to day 12 today on the 16th prosperities that I'm sharing with all of you. Today is day 12, yeah. I'm so sorry today because we are doing it at 9 o'clock and not 8 o'clock as I always do. And the reason being, like I mentioned to you, that my mother-in-law had a second dose jab today for AstraZeneca, and it was 6:30 today, and I took her to PWTC for her jab, and so I know I was going to be delayed, so I thought 8 o'clock is a bit tight, so I decided to do it at 9 o'clock today. So only today. Tomorrow we are back at 8 o'clock again, yeah. So for prosperity number 13, 14, 15, 16, we'll be back at 8 o'clock. Only today is at 9 o'clock. So welcome to today's session, prosperity number 12. Okay, which is about good children. Okay, as you know, I'm discussing this பதினாறு செல்வங்கள்ல பதினாறும் பெற்று பெருவாழ்வு வாழ்க பதினாறு செல்வங்கள், which is 16 prosperity that has been mentioned 500 years ago, by this Kalamega Pullover, Kavinyar, and Abhirami Pattar. These are the two people who have been accredited with this particular 16 prosperities. And I've spoken about 11. Today is number 12. And in Tamil, it's called Nam Makkal. Nam Makkal means my children, our children. That's called Nam Makkal, meaning to say our progeny, our children. Or we can just say good children, okay, for prosperity. Yeah. So I think for you to understand, I think all of us do agree that when people have children, I think it's a dream of all parents that the children become good children. Children where people, highly speak about them, and children where with good character and, whatever not, right? I don't think any parents have any ill intentions, of bringing up a child, or wanting a bad thing for a child. So obviously they want good children, yeah. Though parents have got this feeling of wanting to the best for the children, compared to those days, now it's a bit more difficult to create the kind of good children. The reason being for many, one is of course work. Those days, only father works, mother doesn't work, and now father and mother both work, another kind of a thing. So it could be work reason why a lot of children do not get that kind of upbringing. I'll run through the reasons for it. Work, stress, generally a lot of stress, financial problems, creates a stress as well. Relationship issues. I think there are more divorce cases now, more relationship issues now, more so the children, when they see all this happening, so you tend to find the children are very badly affected by that. Environment generally, with the kind of environment they live in, the neighbors, the uncles and the aunties, the kind of negativity that people talk about. One of the reasons I don't read newspaper, I don't listen to news, is because I think it's a waste of time, because I'm trying to cleanse my subconscious brain with Ho'oponopono. The last thing I want is to get more and more negativity inside my brain. So I just don't read newspapers. I don't watch news, nothing, because I'm very connected to divine. I always believe that if divine will take care of everything. I always believe that politicians are not big. Nobody is big. Divine is the biggest. And as long as I'm connected to divine, everything will be okay. Children are also influenced by friends, influenced by a lot of social media nowadays. I think by the TikTok or Facebook or Instagram. So there's a lot of influence. It's a very sad thing. I've been talking to a lot of youngsters in the range of 20 to 25, and it's very sad because a lot of them either, their depression, anxiety, suicide. It's nothing to do with COVID. That's a funny thing. It's not COVID. Generally, a lot of things are happening around. I've actually met people who I've taught to do Ho'oponopono and suicidal. I came across a lady who studied medicine, working in a hospital, and she cut off, tried 3 times to commit suicide. And when I spoke to her, I understood what she was going through, and I told her how to use Ho'oponopono. Of course, she's happily married now. This was about maybe 5-6 years ago, and she's happily married. She's very happy with what has happened because she followed Ho'oponopono. But I think a lot of people don't get this privilege of doing Ho'oponopono, so they tend to grow up in an environment that creates a different child. So it's a prosperity when you can have an all-rounded children. The good news is, for those of you who do not know what I'm talking about with regards to Ho'oponopono, please go to my Facebook, please check it out, or please go to YouTube, check it out, or text me, and I'll teach about Ho'oponopono because it's the biggest discovery, the best thing that I've ever seen that could change your entire life. Okay, so remember that. Okay, so let's go to the normal process. What is a good children in terms of prosperity? How do you get good children in terms for them to become the good character children that you're looking for, and why is it considered as a prosperity? Because when you talk about prosperity, we always think about car, house, and all, but why is good children a prosperity? Yeah. So talking about what is, when you say good children, in fact, many definitions says that good children are probably the 16. So in the 16 it says your offsprings, for example, or your descendants, for example. So all these are the right thing. In fact, I think when you talk about why we talk about good children is we're talking about children that bring pride to the family, and basically they are the type of people who carry your family name and your lineage. I mean, they are born, they carry your family name and your lineage, and that's what we mean by good children here. Your own children, that means basically created by you. In fact, a lot of people tell me, oh, my son is like that, my daughter is like, when they talk to me, Mr. Kati, can you help me? Mr. Kati, my son is. I said, did your son ask to be born? He said, no. You brought them into this world. So it's your responsibility to make sure that you give them the right kind of love and care for them to grow up, the way they should be. Like I said the other day, God's gift to us is children. Our gift to God is the way we bring up our children. I think that summarizes about the importance of good children. Yeah. Anyway, how do you, or what can you do? How can you do something to create the right kind of children? Yeah. What do you define as a good children? So maybe I will tell that. Then you can look into it. Like I said, a good child is one that carries the pride of the family. Okay. And when you talk about the pride of the family, basically you need to give the children the right kind of training, the right kind of guidance, the right kind of love, the right kind of TLC, tender loving care. Even like for me, I see a good article, I'll send it to my son and daughter. I see a good video, I send it to my son and daughter. From small, I've educated them. I taught them how to read books. So even like I remember I went for an overseas trip with a group of people, and me, my wife, and our two kids. We were in US, and everybody was busy shopping here and shopping there. My two kids were actually looking for bookshops to buy books that you cannot get in Malaysia. And so one of the tour organizers said, "Hey, what is this? Are your two children and they're not looking for toys but looking for books?" And I said, well, the thing is I've given them pocket money. It's up to them what they want to buy, but they choose to buy books, you see. So I think it's important for you to understand that don't go with the norm, like, children are like that, teenagers are like that. Don't go to the norm. I think you have a role to play and you can make the difference. Yeah. I just to give you an idea, there are 12 traits that will, because as I say, I always Google and research. Yeah. There are 12 traits that a child should have, or your children should have, to consider them as a prosperity for you. Okay, 12. Okay, let's go through one by one. The first one is grit. They must be the type of person who never give up. They must have that kind of attitude of never giving up. I mean, they fall down, they get up, they fall down, they get up, they fall down, they get up. Then that's grit. And you must teach them to have that. Okay, that's grit. Number 2 is curiosity. Teach your children to be curious about things. If they want to, they ask you something, said, why don't you check it out? Why don't you Google it out? Why don't you discuss it out? Why don't you find out? You understand? How does this phone work? Why don't you take up the phone and check it out? How does it work? Or go and Google and find how does it work? So create that curiosity, because when you've got this curiosity attitude, they will learn more. Yeah. Number 3 is self-control. Self-control is teach them that it's okay to get angry, but how to control yourself. Teach them how to count to 10, or teach them how to do Ho'oponopono, or teach them that, like we always say, when you get angry, it's like drinking poison, hoping the other person will die. Can you imagine that? When you get angry, you are creating poison within your body and you're hoping they will die, but you are the one who's going to die, because anger actually creates cortisol in your body that is very dangerous, right? So when you teach your children, you're angry, you are harming yourself. So when you teach that, then they'll learn about self-control. They will learn that it's okay to get angry, it's okay to get upset, but how long? Don't prolong it. How to keep it? Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. Social intelligence. Children must have that social intelligence to interact with people. Doesn't matter race, doesn't matter religion. I mean, I've gone out and people have called me names, for example, or called me, whatever. But that just shows the upbringing. What kind of upbringing? I'll give you an example today, which is so interesting. I took my mother-in-law for AstraZeneca, right? And an example of social intelligence. So this lady, this young Chinese girl who was at the counter, she called out my mother-in-law's name, and my mother-in-law, my son was with me, okay, to take my mother-in-law there. So, and when the son took my mother-in-law there, the young lady, came to my son and said, and then looked at my mother-in-law and said, "I'm so sorry if I had mentioned your name wrongly, because I very seldom read Indian names, and that is called social intelligence, and that shows that girls' parents have given a good upbringing. Because can you imagine? She knows my mother-in-law is 80 years old, but my mother-in-law is a former nurse, so she speaks good English and all that. But for a girl to call the name, and then when she sees my mother-in-law, she actually can say, "Auntie, I'm very sorry if I call your name wrongly, because I really don't read a lot of Indian names." And that is social intelligence. I think giving that to your children to respect. One of the things I like is my children always respect others. Doesn't matter what race, what religion, whatever. And I don't allow them to downgrade, degrade anybody, for the matter, because I feel the social intelligence is very important. Education and knowledge, of course, you must give your children. Make sure they're educated. I think I've told you in, prosperity number 2, or number 1, that is very, very important, that you make sure that your children actually at least become a graduate, because you don't want to have their children say, "Oh, my parents are not educated." Like I say sometimes, my parents are not educated, not in a bad way, but you don't want your children to say, your grandchildren to say that your children are not educated. So you need to make sure they get education. Yeah, growth mindset, the kind of mindset that allows them to always think about, doing, growing. We call it growth mindset. If you need to Google growth mindset by Carol Dweck. Carol Dweck is the name of or Angela Duckworth. Okay, you can check Angela Duckworth. Yeah, Angela Duckworth. Okay, you can Google, and Carol Dweck as well. You can Google these two names. You'll find out that they talk about growth mindset, and growth mindset is a mindset where you always can see solutions rather than problems. Yeah, that is the type of thing you must give your children. Seriously, if you can Google this growth mindset video, send it to your children to watch, and educate them in that way. That is very important. Optimism. Children should have optimism. This is number 7. Optimism is, children must be very positive and optimistic about things. They need to look, like COVID is going on. They need to be able to look at it. A lot of adults are negative. Today I was talking to someone and he said, "Oh, I'm so sad." I said, "Do you have COVID or not? You don't have, right? You should be very positive about it. Why are you worried? Just do your ho'oponopono, believe in it, that you'll come out of it and all those things." But so you have to have this optimism, because the moment you don't have optimism, you are as good as dead. You understand or not? If you're upset with the government, you're upset with COVID, you're upset, then you're as good as dead, because your brain cannot function right. But as long as you can get up every morning and you're breathing, you should be very good. This is what you must teach your children. You must teach your children. If they say something, you must correct them politely, explain to them, not scold them. Not like, "You small kids don't know anything, shut up and sit down." Not like that. But be able to tell them why, how, so that they know. Because children are small, remember, they know this: what, why, how, when, where. So you need to educate them in that way. Yeah? Honesty, very important. You need to teach them about honesty. Like I've told always my kids that, my 2 kids, that, if let's say if you go to a shop and they give you extra money, give it back. If you have accident taken something, give it back. It's not yours, it's not yours. Empathy is being able to feel what others are feeling. My daughter, used to, when we used to drive, she loves dogs, right? I have a dog at home, her dog actually, but she's overseas now. And my dog, we'll be driving, in a car, and then we see a dog, stray dog, and my daughter will be like, "Stop, stop, 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 stop. Why are you? Look at the dog, poor dog. Is there any way we can give food or not? Okay, let's go buy some food and give that street dog, And that is empathy, because she really, really feels the empathy, and both my kids. So I think you need to teach them about empathy, where they want to, like my son, when he orders nasi lemak bungkus, he makes sure he always orders extra to give it to the security guards. That kind of thing. I'm not here to talk about, wow, look at my children. I'm just saying that. Please don't get me wrong. I never do that. Okay. I don't want to do that. I think most of you got beautiful children. I'm just saying examples here where you want to have children like that. And you need to know I do ho'oponopono a lot. So that means I know that they are characters and all are developed, because I've been doing ho'oponopono many, many years. And if you write your children's name and do ho'oponopono, your children will develop into that kind of wonderful kids. Yeah. I think a lot of you are following my ho'oponopono program. Your husband has changed, your wife has changed, your children have changed because of ho'oponopono. So do that. Yeah. Street smart. Teach them to be street smart. Street smart means they need to know how to survive at work. They need to know how to survive in the streets. They need to know how to survive. You can teach them martial arts. You can teach them things that will allow them to be able to survive, in the street, because you also don't want them to be naive, be bullied and whatever not. So be street smart. Two more, they need to know how to respect people. Very, very important that respect everybody and anybody that they meet. It's very important from, getting up in a, you go to an LRT station, simple, you go to an LRT station, not LR station, in an LRT, you see all the places that allocated for old people or pregnant women and all. And if you see young people sitting there and they pretend like they're sleeping, pretend like they're reading, pretend they don't know anything, it just shows what kind of upbringing they've had. Because I know there are a lot of young people I've seen, the moment they see an old lady, they will get up and I said, wow, they've got good parents, because I think their parents have given them the right kind of values. And last one is values. Like just generally, they must have good values in life, very value driven. So whatever decision they make, it must be value driven. A good example of value driven is that the children learn from what they see in the parents. I want to maybe tell you a story here. Oh, I do have time. Okay, very quickly. There's this 13-year-old boy and 8-year-old boy in the car. The father is taking them to the zoo. I repeat, 13-year-old boy and 8-year-old boy in the car. The father is taking them to the zoo. And as going to the zoo, it's written there, 12 years and above, adult charge. 12 years and below, children's, 12 a child, 12 years and above is adult, and 12. So obviously, there are two adults, because there's the 13-year-old son and then the father and then the 8-year-old boy, right? So at the counter, the man is telling, the father is telling the counter guy, 2 adults, 1 child, which is correct, okay? Because one is 13 years old again. So the guy gives them a ticket, and of course the price is different because adult is different, children different again. And as he's collecting the ticket and paying the money, that man, ticket man says, I don't understand, both your children look like they're 8 years old. You could have just told me 2 children, 1 adult, I won't even know that you lied. And this is what the father told the man. He said, you won't know if I lied, but my children know I'm a liar. My children knows I'm a liar. If I had said 2 child, 1 adult, because my children would have looked at and they will know I'm a liar. And that is called values. About what kind of values you have. Yeah. Okay, that is how some of the characters. Okay, I want to finish up by telling you why prosperity. Children are known as prosperity. Why? Children are basically your future. Okay, that means they're your future. They carry your family name and your lineage. That's number 1. Number 2 is children are your hidden treasures. You can have a big car, you can have a big house, but your children are your real treasure. Your children and how they develop are your treasure. So really, the value is not gold or house or car. It's your children and what kind of children you have. Yeah. Obviously, your children, good character will always take care of you, because one day you are going to get old. One day maybe you need somebody to take care of you. And good children will always take care of you, and that's one of the reasons why it's a prosperity. And of course, I want to finish up by telling you, because they bring pride. Your children will bring pride to your family, and that's why it's so important. Yeah. Okay, so important. Okay. Now, so I need you to understand that good children are known as a prosperity, and it's because that no matter what kind of car you drive, what life you have, but when people say something like, his son did this or his daughter did this, obviously, it doesn't matter what car you drive, where you live, what money you have, what kind of prosperity you have, because you have lost that one prosperity where you have children who are not the pride of the family. And that's the reason 500 years ago, they said good children is a prosperity, and that's prosperity number 12. Okay, guys, I'll see you all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And tomorrow we will talk about character. Why is it that, character, your character, today we talk about children, right? Why your character is a prosperity. And probably I'll cover some of the things I covered today. But let's talk about character tomorrow and why is that a prosperity. Okay, with that, thank you very much, everybody. Please be safe. Take care of yourself. I think there are a lot of cases now, very high, but as long as you take care of yourself, follow the SOP, I think we are good. So please do that, right? Okay, so with that, thank you very much, all of you. Love you guys. See you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Yeah, bye-bye.